I felt a funeral in my brain. In Emily Dickinson's poem, I felt a funeral in my brain. Dickinson describes what seems to be funeral in her mind when one thinks to be funeral. However, they usually think of a ceremony for a person who has died. Although Dickinson describes events that usually take place at a funeral, mourners, a service, lifting of a box, or what seems to be implied as a coffin. No one has died, no one is being buried. This funeral that Dickinson is experiencing in her brain is actually a funeral for the death of her mind. In the first stanza, Dickinson begins to describe this slow death of her mind when she say mourners to and fro kept treading till it seemed that sense was giving way. The mourners Dickinson speaks of seem to signify her thoughts, and these thoughts are passing back and forth in her mind till it seemed that sense was giving way, for all reason was beginning to fail. In the second stanza, Dickinson continues to describe his slow distortion of her mind when she says, "And when they all were seated, a service like a drum kept beating, till I thought my mind was going numb." The ceremony was the death of her mind has now begun, and the beating seems to emphasize these thoughts that continues to destroy what is left of her sanity. After the funeral service is over and the pallbearers carry the coffin to the cemetery, Dickinson tries her last and final attempt to control her sanity. As she describes in the third stanza, "Then I heard them lift a box and crack across my soul with those same boots of lead again. Then space become too tall." In this stanza, Dickinson implies that her mind is about to be buried, and as her mind is being buried, she hears those all last thoughts of reasoning, and suddenly all thoughts are gone, and only one left is Dickinson and silence, some strange race here. In the last stanza, as the coffin is being lowered to the ground, Dickinson describes the final result of the death of her mind. As she explains, "And then a plank in reason broke, and I dropped down and down," as Dickinson's in being lowered in the ground, and the bottom of the coffin suddenly breaks, implying that this blank in reason, in a level of understanding, thinking, knowing. Then Dickinson hits a world at every plunge, passing through different words of levels of sanity, where she goes from reasoning to finish knowing, then or unreasoning, not thinking, not knowing, insanity.